All right. Well, welcome, kids, to another episode of the VGF Strat Corner podcast. We just keep rolling with the guests, and we have another one today for our character Julia Chang. Now, Mr. Antonio C. from Wisconsin. Everybody knows him. If you've seen him, you automatically love him. So.
Hi.
I love giving those awkward moments. It's like, okay,
the meet and greet is now over, guys.
But I do have a question for you. Like, a lot of people know your name. You were real big, back in tag, and you're still a good Tekken player and everything. But I don't see you traveling very much. So I don't think a lot of like these newer kids know who you are. So give us a little like a brief summary of like your playing time and your XP.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think what it is. Well, it's not. Tekken isn't as big here as it used to be. It's still. I guess it's still big enough considering the Midwest is kind of scattered.
True.
You got a few players here in each of the kind of major cities in the Midwest, but there's not like. It's not like the old days where, St. Louis would have, 30 guys going to a tournament. Wisconsin would have 20, 30 guys going to a tournament. I don't really think that exists so much anymore. And also, Tekken's kind of a harder game to jump into with each release in the series, as opposed to, Street Fighter 4 was, the reason it's so popular is it kind of made it easier. You could have not played a Street Fighter for 10 years and jumped in and kind of learned the game.
I prefer the term stupid. It's stupider.
It's more stupider. But yeah, they don't really do that in Tekken, so it's kind of hard if you've missed one game in the series, it's kind of hard to just jump in. They do not make it user friendly. Yeah, so there's some people that disagree with me, but I think it's just going to get smaller and smaller as the years go on, which is not very optimistic, but I still think it's a great game. I think what has to happen is just you would have to get all the kind of old school TTT players to kind of come out of the woodwork and play TTT2 again and play, Tekken X Street Fighter. But other than that, I don't know. Me personally, while I have been traveling, I make it a point to learn a game right away when it comes out. So when it's released into the arcades, I'll go to the arcade as often as possible and play as much as possible and try to have gatherings as much as possible. Mm-hmm. But then once it's kind of released the home version, I kind of take it easy.
Let everyone else catch up.
Yeah.
I like that. Let everyone else catch up.
I actually blame Namco for the scene dying down. Not releasing having a time release for everyone in the U.S. all at the same time, and we didn't even get Tekken 6 until it came out on the home system. It was just fucking sloppy release, and I think that killed a lot of the community.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. But yeah, I would agree with that. That makes it easier. No, because I'm like, do people even really? Because there's still those players, we all know them, where they don't even play till it comes home. They'll come the weekend it's released, play it, losing it, and just go and count the days. So
we didn't get it in the arcade at all.
Right. No, I know. But the point I was going to make is that they no longer have to those players no longer have to worry about that because there's been controller ports since,
Yeah.
5, and arcade owners kind of go out of their way to make it possible for people to just plug in.
You guys didn't have a T6 cabinet? I mean, they weren't at all in the U.S., were they? I mean, I think there were a couple scattered ones.
Wisconsin, we had one within a month that it was released.
Nice. Yeah, we didn't get shit.
Yeah, it was that way. There were, they had that thread on TZ or whatever, and they were popping up slowly. They were all over the place right before it came out on the home system.
Yeah, it wasn't everywhere. I remember, I think Tekken 6 was out for a good 3 months, 4 months, and there was maybe 7 cities that had it. Us being one of them.
Did it have controller ports like T5?
Yeah, like the point I was making before. Yeah, ours did. Arcade owner Paul, he wired them up using some proprietary Neo Geo converters.
Wow.
And it was just fine. I know an arcade in Detroit hooked it up to a 50-inch no lag LCD, had controller ports for that arcade. So they were yeah, they were out there. They were doing it. So
Yeah, I always thought, like, I was always curious, like, how they were going to continue doing the controller ports, because when T5 came out, you know, it was PS2, so they had the PS2 ports, and then, you know, T6 and DR they were both on PS3. So, like, it's really weird. Like, okay, everybody's switching to a PS3 pad, you know, converters. Ever since the Pelican ones, you know, people stopped using, or those stopped being made or whatever. And so you had these junky converters out there, and I was like, okay, well, are they going to have, like, PS3, you know, USB plugins, or what the hell is going to go on? Which I think they should have done anyway, because so many people have sticks that are USB, but that's just my opinion.
That's for sure.
Yeah, because... Yeah, who knows? But, okay, cool. So, and you've always been a Julia player, as far as I know. Well, I should change that. You were a Mishima player in tag, but then I think when it went to singles.
Still, I want to make that point before we continue. I'm still a Mishima player, and I plan on maining number 6. But, yeah, I like Julia a lot.
Nice. So what made you like to pick Julia over a Mishima for the one-on-one games?
I think what it was, because I played her since 3, and of course I played her in, she was one of my alternates in tag. But I think I really started playing her in 4 when I didn't like the design of the Mishimas, because they completely, you know, overhauled Jin, and I didn't like the way Hayachi and Kazuya played as much, so I kind of played Julia more and more. So since 4, I consider her probably one of my mains.
Nice. Don't lie, it's that 11-frame Magic 4.
10, sir.
It's 10?
Yeah. Eat it. It's a fucking tone down.
Yeah, it's a tone down. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Tag 10 and 3, it was 10 and 4. It wasn't until 5 came around that they toned it down.
Yeah, I knew in tag that it was 10 frame because they worked on the 8-frame jab system, and then when they changed that. But I didn't realize that it was 10 and 4. I thought it was still...
From Tekken 3 to Tekken 4, it was 10 frames with no crush system. So it was pretty good.
And when they made it slower, they also made the juggle easier to do. If I recall correctly.
How did they make it easier?
I think before you had to start with shotgun, right?
No,
like
no.
The range was so I don't know. Maybe it was like the axis that it hit it on. But.
No, you could always do elbow. It was just in Tekken 4 because of the gravity change. You had to do as deep an elbow and as close to right kick to get it. But in any game across the board, Julia across the board in every release, it's far easier to land an elbow in most situations than it is to land a shotgun in all situations.
I have always had a handicap with shotgun. Like, I just cannot do that move in juggles for whatever reason.
The trick with that move is, it's like, you want to do it as fast as possible, but it's not with Mishima's, you want to do electric as fast as possible, so you want to do the motion so you can get to the execution as fast as possible. So you want to hit, I'm hoping most people understand kind of, Mishima play. So
No,
we talk over their heads all the time.
Yeah, we do all the time. It's no big deal. Yeah, I mean, if you want to expand, you can, but we don't care.
Our fans are the smartest available, but they're still TZ posters.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll make this quick and easy. So notation would be forward, of course, forward, neutral, down, and forward, and 2. And the trick is to land, obviously do the entire start to finish notation as quickly as possible, but to land the down forward, the last of the stick inputs, and 2 on the same frame to get the electric.
Yeah.
But with the shotguns, it's kind of undocumented, but you do not want to hit. Okay, the notation for the shotgun is down to down forward and left punch, but you do not want to hit down forward and 1 on the same frame. You actually want a frame,
a neutral.
A gap. No, you don't want to. You just don't want to do it in the same frame. Just after you hit down forward, you can wait as little as 1 frame before you hit 1. You will always get shotgun. But if you try.
What's that notation again?
Down, roll to down forward, 1.
All right, for you listeners out there, this is assuming your character is facing the opponent.
Yes. Yes, it is. For listeners, they wouldn't know that. But yeah, so you don't want to do it in the same frame. If you see people and they do like a down forward 1 or like a low jab, they're doing it on the same frame. If you just wait And you can go home and test it, and you will get it 10 out of 10 times if you wait.
Interesting stuff. I may have to fucking mess with that.
I wonder if you can buffer that during like the block too. Do you know?
During
Like,
Julia.
Do the down forward, and then like hold down forward on the recovery, and then hit the button.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah, but it's really distributed. There's I'd say maybe 5 frames that you can wait before it would no longer accept that.
That's crazy. I didn't know you could buffer the notation.
Can you give like a false crouch on that too?
No. When you get to crouch, it's over. Because, you crouch faster than 5.
Huh.
So, yeah. I don't know what it is exactly. I know someone told me the exact number of frames that, that trick, well, I didn't get too deep. In Soul Calibur, those crazy throws, like the Ivy throw with the crazy notation.
Yeah.
Criminal Symphony, Summon Suffering.
And they give so much leeway because the X amount of frames that they allow between inputs is so great. I don't know what it is in Tekken. I'm not sure if that's documented, but I know for this specific input, it's around 5. So maybe that's what it is universally.
Yeah, I know for CS and SS in fucking Caliber, it was ridiculous. You could do another full 2 circles and then fucking.
Oh yeah.
You had 6 seconds.
Yeah, it was.
No, that's the actual thing.
6 seconds. Holy shit.
6 seconds. You could even do the whole motion, hold down back, just sit there crouching, hit the buttons.
Oh my god.
That was our thing. We would mix up while standing attacks with Criminal Symphony.
That's how you got to do it. That's dumb.
No, I just love any move that allows a false crouch, like in the inputs in Tekken, because it just looks weird. It comes out weird, and you end up players eating like bullshit moves. Wish I could pull you a good example here, but it's probably similar to like the low jab cancel. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You, Scott, maybe the listeners?
Yeah. Well, I know that you, there's other false stuffs too, like you can do false crouch dashes and stuff. Like I know Armor King has one where...
False crouch?
Yeah, it's really goofy. Like you can do, there's 3 different ways that you can do a giant swing, and one of them, rather than doing forward and then a half circle forward, you can do forward, down, back, down, forward. And when he does that, when you do it with that notation, he'll do a slow crouch dash, and then the giant swing will come out. And it's really, really fucking weird because it has the same grab animation as his crouch dash throw. So you can kind of mix it up. The only problem with it, obviously, is because he does a slow crouch dash. It's slower, but it's sort of people refer to it as a kind of a fake crouch dash.
I got hit with that over last weekend or whatever that we were there.
Yep,
I hate you.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird, but the problem with doing that, you really have to be pretty technical on that execution because I hate PS pads because they're so forgiving on some things, and no, I'm serious. It really it messes with me on some things because if you switch from a PS2 pad to a PS3 pad, you have to be really, really specific with your inputs on a PS2 pad. You got to make sure that you press that D-pad and make sure that you get that direction. Whereas a PS3 pad will kind of just do it for you because it's I don't know exactly the pieces of the PS3 pad, but
it's made with magic.
Yeah, exactly. But it's it's the D-pad is a little smoother on a PS3 pad, so it's
what?
They're inferior on the PS3 pad, the parts on the PS3.
Yeah, and I absolutely think so. But I don't know. I lost my conversion a long time ago, so I just ended up switching to a PS3 pad. But in any case, it kind of fucks with me when I'm using a PS3 pad because sometimes I'll get that when I don't want to, and sometimes I won't get it when I do want to. So it's really weird. But yeah, I know there's a random example of the fake crouch dashes and stuff.
Well, I feel like we just blew our load early on some awesome Armor King knowledge before we had Armor King on. But for you kids who don't know about the low jab thing, you can test it out. Just do a low jab, and if you do forward and some buttons or whatever after the low jab, it recovers so fast that the forward will cancel the crouch before you even do it there. You can do some moves like the Devil Jin super throw. You can do low jab and then do the whole motion and come out with it, and it's fucking retarded.
Or combos that leave you in force crouch with lay, and you get the combo with the low jab, and then you have to crouch cancel with the jab to finish the remainder of the combo. You can just low jab and actually you just charge forward as soon as you low jab, just charge forward. That's new to Tekken 6. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah,
I think that they had that in 5 and DR because I used to do the low jab to super throw thing all the time though.
Oh, that I believe that works, but I don't think it cancels to like standing. Like if you do like a low jab charge forward, just mash 1. Like I'm not positive that you would get a standing jab. Yeah,
I can't say for sure.
I can't say for sure either, but I think it's because of the rolling actually is helping with canceling that. They just made it easier in Tekken 6. I don't remember being that easy.
Well, I know that's how I like for some like juggles and stuff because a lot of people have bounders that recover crouch, and you can use that method to crouch cancel if you need to. So, because I know Armor King has the down 2 chop, so I have to crouch cancel as well. So.
I think the reason why it like you said, like the low jab super throw, like with giant swings and the laser throw.
Yep.
Those you still have to kind of because you're basically charging neutral after you buffer the command, and you're just waiting to see yourself kind of stand. But with the jab, you can literally just mash jab.
Well, that was just the only example that I had. I think I don't want to say for sure, but I thought that with Dragunov or whatever, I used to do like low jab and then like forward 3 because it's fucking abusable. I used to try to space people out with the low jab because you can't. If you just bait like Mishimas or whatever, and they'll be looking for their whiff punish, I like to throw out that as the bait, and then buffer in the move afterwards.
Maybe right. Maybe we'll have to test that.
There you go. New stuff to test. Well, let's get into the Julia garbage. Then I'm gonna switch things up a little bit for this podcast. Usually, what I'll do is I'll just give our little summary for like the character, and then we just kind of start conversation based on that. But I'm actually gonna throw this to you, Antonio. Like, what areas do you think she's really strong in, and what areas do you think she's really weak in? And you don't have to go into detail yet. Just like a quick summary of like what you would look for if you were playing against her.
So we're talking about 6, obviously, then, right?
Yes, Tekken 6.
What she's good and what she's great in.
And they can just be like quick things like, okay, you think her punishing is bad, or this is good. Or...
I think she's good all the way. I should give her play defensively with the 4-4 or the standing 4. She can play offensively. She has a decent sidestep. She has a ton of moves that are delayable that I love that and they're not all that punishable, mostly jab punishable moves. The only thing I don't like about her is her kind of 10 and 12 frame punishing options, and even 13 frame punishing options. But other than that, I think she's really solid. I love her combos. I love how versatile she can be. I love how quick she is. I love
technical
throws. She has great Oki. She has great range. I think she's a really solid character. Can be played many different ways.
Yep, I agree. I hate her. I hate this fucking character so much. Seriously, because I just came back from a Power Up this past weekend, and I did.
Did you get owned up?
I did. Well, sort of. I tied for 9th, but I played okay, but I could have played better. But my first loss, I won the first 2, and then I lost to a fucking Julia player. And I was so salty about it. Because, I was like, okay, I know it's coming. Oh, it hit me. Look at that. It's like, I don't know, something about this character. You just throw out random shit, and I would just run into it all day. It's just so fucking weird. But
Julia, you could almost kind of create, I was going to say offensive, but I'd say both offensive and defensive, bubble around her. There's a range where I can stick out a 4, it creates a bubble. If you come in, you get counter hit, you get hit, it's good for her. 4 for 3 creates a bubble. You just keep these things that you just kind of keep.
That's a good description.
Well, yeah, I know. Magic 4 has been referred to as Shield for the longest time. So if you just want to think of the Shield as that bubble.
How many podcasts has that sentence been on?
Dude, it's Shield. It never goes away, and especially for Julia. We mentioned it used to be 10 frames, but now that most people's Magic 4 is 12 frames, that's a distinct advantage that she has an 11 frame Magic 4 because her.
it's still good because it recovers quickly and it doesn't kind of project her hitbox out enough that you should be worried about it. So like her down 4-3 is another good bubble move because if they, with the crush system, if they become airborne into your down 4-3, that's free combo. So even if they become airborne to her standing 4, that's a combo.
Well, I always thought that with shotgun, elbow, and you mentioned down 4-3, and there's a few other moves too, that she was one of the best floaters in the game. Like if she catches you jumping or doing something weird, like you said, it's pretty much full combo. So
her hop kick even had that option. Both hits for a hop kick, if they hit you out of the air, you can still combo with her. So I like to kind of create that kind of bubble around myself.
We'd be remiss to not mention her tracking problem, though. Albeit better. It's still there.
It's a problem, but you kind of I don't blindly attempt to stop people from moving. Like if I see a pattern, there's either two options. You can either attempt to home them, and in my opinion, she has one of the best homing attacks in the game. I believe it's 15 frames to hit. And depending on where within those frames, it's either 0 or +1. And that's huge, because a lot of characters are around the -5, -6, -3 area. So that has a homing attack that leaves you neutral at times.
Gives her decent damage when it hits?
It downs, when it hits, it downs and you get free 4-4-2. Which is a ground mid.
So which move?
Something she never had before now.
So which move are you talking about then?
It's her back 4. She had it in older Tekkens, but they kind of sped it up, made it better, attached the home priority to it.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry, I should correct myself. A mid that hits grounded that matters. There we go.
It's a very, very good. And actually, it's one of the... I think there might be one other one that I can't think of at the moment, but her 4-4-2, if she slams her fist into the ground, it's a ground mid, but when it's blocked, she recovers crouching, but you can hit her with standing attacks. Like, she recovers in crouch, but does not tech crouch. So,
yeah.
That's weird. I don't know why it's like that. You can jab. Yeah, she is -14. You can jab her. You can even throw her, which are special highs. But she cannot, she can while stand from that.
Huh. Yeah,
I don't know what
that's goofy. I haven't really heard of a lot of moves like that in Tekken.
It's not an option. I can't control whether I want to become standing or crouching. I will become crouching.
Okay, so you mentioned the tracking issue, Dan, and so let's talk. You mentioned the punishing issue a little bit, Antonio, and I think that's I think that's something that really needs to be talked about, because I mean you said 13 frames and pretty much below that she's very, very weak.
Yeah.
And I mean you really have to take advantage of that too if you're playing against her. So.
And she has the options. It's just like for her to punish at 12 or whatever, I don't know. She's either giving up damage that she could have, or she has to struggle to hit like a forward real quick. Or
absolutely, yeah, that's what it is. It's a gamble, because Tekken 6 is the first game to introduce a universal 10-frame jab across the board for every character, where before it was either 8. The majority were 8 and 10 frame, King being I believe 9 frame. So what they did was the characters that did not have. The reason the characters that had 8-frame jabs had 8-frame jabs because they had lesser range than that of 10-framers. So they increased the range of all the 8-frame jabbers, and Julia being one of them. But still, it's not that big of a range increase. So she still cannot hit certain characters that other 10-framers that have been 10-framers at the beginning could.
So you're saying like some of her 1-2s will miss?
Yeah.
Ugh, I hate that.
So some of her 1-2s are miss. She has an 11-frame punish, which is a standing 4, but because a standing 4 is so great for...
It doesn't move her forward?
It doesn't move her forward, but because Namco says, okay, we're going to allow you to combo from this from counter hit, we're going to give you a disadvantage on normal hit. So even though I hit you with standing 4, now you begin your offense, if you're a smart player.
Does she have that option like Nina, where if she does hit the 4, the low kick is unparryable?
I know it can be blocked for sure, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It can be blocked. Yeah, it can be blocked, and it cannot be parried.
All right, that's just what I was curious about. I like those options. If you like Dragunov has 2-1-4. If the jabs hit, you can't parry the low kick. I love shit like that. I don't care if even if it's punishable, whatever. It's just nice to have.
I actually don't like that.
You don't like that.
In Tekken 5? Yeah, in Tekken 5 and in Tekken... Yeah, Tekken Tag, Tekken 5, you could punish it. Like, whenever they introduce the universal low parry, out of hit stun, if I just held down forward as I'm getting hit from the floor, it will auto parry. Not auto parry, but it's buffered. So you could parry it. But they changed it in, I believe, Tekken 6, they might have changed it. But before you could, now you cannot.
So you don't like it because you're still holding down forward?
Well, I think they should be rewarded to react to that. Because they're basically reacting in 10, 11 frames. So if they can react that quickly to parry you, I think, give it to them. But, no, yeah, they removed that. But I wouldn't take that anyways, because I believe the 4-4, even though you're getting an additional hit, you're still at disadvantage. So both attacks are still at a disadvantage.
Oh, no, it's just option stuff is what I like about it. I like to, like, with the Dragunov one, I like to be doing 2-1-4. It's not like I'm getting crazy damage out of it or whatever. It's just something that they get to be afraid of, and I'm not risking my half-life on or whatever because they can't parry it.
I totally understand that.
So, okay, you said it was 4-4 is disadvantage on hit?
Both just 4 and both 4-4 on hit are disadvantaged. And their 12-frame Punisher is their 4-2-1, which does have more, which is a reverse 1-2. It's a 2-1, literally. And it executes at 12 frames. I believe it's an advantage, a lesser advantage than a 1-2, but has greater range than the 1-2.
Mm-hmm.
So if you block, say, a hop kick from max range, if that would ever happen, you would option for the 4-2-1 over the 1-2.
Yeah.
That's a universal thing with the 2-1s.
What's that?
That's a universal thing with the 2-1s. They always reach better.
More range, yeah. Even an independent 2 over independent 1 is just always going to have more range. So just by virtue.
I hated that in Tekken 5. I'd be doing the Yoshi running wall, and any character that had a 2 to start for the jab Punisher, they could always hit. You could never do the space out thing where blocked at max range.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hated that shit because Heihachi had that 2-1-12 or whatever.
Oh, that thing was so stupid.
Yeah. Now I just ate half.
Wasn't that bad?
Oh. He's okay. Antonio's cool with it. He was like, whatever. I'll eat that. I don't care. Don't scare me.
But Dan made a good point. Like, if they are minus 12, minus 13, you can option to go 4-4, 4-3. You have to do it right out of block stun, and that could become difficult because there's certain block stuns that have the guard break. So you can have to wait till the animation's over, and if you do it too quickly, you might get a standing 3, or you do it too late, you might get a 4-4-3 that's blocked, then you're minus 14 in their face, so they're still continue their offense and a free Punisher. So
how bad's her standing 3 on block?
At least that would.
It has to be.
I wouldn't want to do it.
I can pull it up.
I'm just curious. Like that whole trick with the Mishima while standing 2. Like if you're going for a crouch dash while standing 2 with Jin or Devil Jin, whatever, and you could hit the next button in the string to try to make it safer. Maybe she had something like that. Maybe, I don't know. For your fuck up buffer or something.
Yeah, no, she has nothing.
Yeah, weird. They don't.
Right.
They don't list while standing 3 on the frame
Well,
I'm looking at.
It'd be a standing 3, but I think like what Dan is saying, not well. Actually, you want to clarify that because it wouldn't be a while stand 2. It would be a while stand 2 that's executed by back and 2.
Yeah.
I think that's what, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just listing an option where, like, you're going for a move, and if you think that there's a chance you could fuck it up, like you did forward 3, and you thought that you were going to do 3, maybe you could hit a second button, or maybe the 3 doesn't recover that bad.
Yeah,
whatever.
10 string or something. Yeah, I know.
Like 10 string.
For kids that don't know, when you try to crouch dash into while standing 2 in, like, any game or whatever with, like, a Devil Jin or whatever Jin, he would do, like, the back 2, but he has a string that starts with back 2, so he could do back 2-3 or back 2-4, and...
Yeah.
Try to make it safer.
Yeah.
So you'd go for crouch dash while standing 2-4 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she has no insurance on that. So it's either you'll get it, you'll combo them, or you're playing defense after you eat a minus 14.
Nice. But, I guess after the 13 frames, though, she gets really fucking scary.
Oh, yeah.
4-4-3 is nasty.
And, I play, For example, this is a bad example because it's like minus, 40. But like if you block like a debugger from Jack, you can just run on. No. Hear me out.
No, I'm listening.
Yeah.
You didn't feel like doing an unblockable afterwards. You're doing this.
You could, like if someone's recovers in crouch and they're minus 14 at least, you can get a free down forward 1, which establishes the kneel stun, and then
nice.
Yeah. So, and you could even, well, like with Jack players that like to run up in, another Jack example, they like to run up in down forward 1, in reaction to the specific range where they would do the down back 1, did I say down forward 1? Yeah. The down back 1, the low.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Machine gun punch. If I preemptively intercept that, I'll execute my down forward 1 before the Jack player executes his down back 1 machine gun punch, and I'll get him in the kneel stun on a counter hit to 4-4-3. So there's a lot of that. So you don't even want to block it to punish it. You like, I know you're doing a move that's a tech crouch. I'm going to intercept that tech crouch and combo you from it. So she has
that's a nice strategy suggestion.
That is, especially considering that like in the early frames for while standing punishing, she basically just gets while standing 4, I think, up until fucking hop kick. Because I mean the other options I don't think they're as good. Because I think she has a couple other options like down forward 2 or full crouch down forward 2 at like 12 or something, but.
Well, yeah.
But I think while standing, unless you're like right at a wall, I think while standing 4 is actually better. But
yeah, absolutely.
So that I would say that's I mean the down forward.
While standing 4 wall stun?
No. Down forward 2 does though. The full crouch down forward 2 doesn't it?
Oh
I think so. So, but I mean without a wall, the while standing 4 is going to give you a better situation. But I think I do like that strategy better though with the down forward 1 because why even risk the punish? Go for this huge damage.
And again, it falls into that kind of creating that offensive/defensive bubble. Absolutely.
Nice. Well, that's the Punisher. So you mentioned the Oki a little bit, which goes hand in hand with the punishing. So while standing 4, I just mentioned that situation. One of the moves that I hate the most in the game is fucking 4 slide 2. I fucking hate that move. So I hate low high. It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid. But
that's my entire anti-Julia strat is try to make them do that or try to make them do their tracking move. I don't know how you can hate that move. That's when you want them to do it because if they do fuck up that range.
See, that's the point. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the point I was going to make.
It's something that works for her and against her.
Right. What you want to do is you want to get yourself. It goes back into like Tekken Tag. Like Tekken Tag had a lot of, I won't say easy, but a lot of characters had. Does everyone know what tech catches are?
Yes. Yeah, we've talked about tech catches. Yeah.
So like everyone had them, but you have to kind of time them. You need a specific range, and in your head, or at least they want you to have in your head that like don't tech because I will nail you, I will launch you, whatever. And my philosophy is that I'm gonna tech. If you can do it, you better do it. You better do it perfectly because I'm gonna challenge you to it. Like I'm not scared. I don't have faith that you're gonna hit me with it. And that's kind of what the philosophy you want to have with Julia. It's because it's such a great move with the low hits and the high whiffs. The mid is guaranteed. You can get stunned into a wall. It's a ton of damage. But if they don't do it, that's minus 16. I don't care who's playing. You can take 40% from them. You can get into a wall. You can just change the entire outcome of that match.
See, right here, this is what I'm digging about this conversation with Antonio. Is he knows that she has a low. He knows that she has the options. But unlike the kids on the forums, he's not just limiting himself to this strategy thing. Well, she can get around it. No, you're still trying to create an issue for her to have to deal with. You're approaching her with an actual strategy, and I'm just about the kids again. She has options to deal with this stuff, but this is the intelligent way to play her.
Yeah.
So you want to kind of find out that information and quickly. Like as soon as they give you again from the WoW Fan 4, it's techable now, and that's a great situation where a Julia player would want to step, create this range, and slide 4-2 1 you. Now give them that option. Like let's see what they do. Let's see. I'm going to stand and give it to you. I'm going to give you that option. This is early. This is round 1 of this 2 out of 3 set, 3 out of 5 set. I'm going to see what you can do. Now, if they fuck up, that's round 1. They're minus 16. You got the first launch of that match. That's going to make them think twice about it. Now you don't have to worry about that option anymore. and you're gonna kind of ruin their confidence in their ability. Maybe they could do it, but that one time that they couldn't, that kind of changes that dynamic of that one match.
Or it even frustrates them enough to keep going for it more because they have something to fucking prove.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I have this option. You didn't respect it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And most people I notice in a tournament atmosphere, if you catch them on something like that once, the next time, no matter what, they will always do the other option because they think that's what you're focusing on. Most people are not cocky enough to say, oh, okay, you got lucky. You guessed right once. I'm going to keep doing it. So...
I just love the average player. That is how it works every fucking time.
Every single time.
Like, don't you know that you can hell sweep here?
Yeah. But I'm like a douche. I always treat somebody like a noob until you prove to me that you can do otherwise. Because like even like Power Up, I mentioned I went to this last weekend and I got a little bashed for it on the stream. But when I was playing, I was doing Armor King's 12-2, and you can duck that. But if you don't duck it, and you block the 2, it puts him in such a good situation because of the range and everything. So I do that at the wall, and then I can just do it again, and there's really nothing you can do. It'll go under all highs, it'll beat out most mids and stuff. So I would just keep doing this, and people just kept running into it because they wouldn't duck it. And I was like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm just going to keep throwing this shit out.
The listeners should actually heed that advice from Scott, because that's actually the better way to approach a match to someone you've never experienced before. Like sometimes I often make the mistake where I'll respect everyone as if they know, and you actually want to actually treat them like they are a scrub, like they don't know. You want to throw everything at them at once and see how they react to it, because you might only need a strategy and a half to win a series.
One knowledge is power situation creates an entire universe.
Thank you for that nugget of wisdom, Dan.
All right, well, you guys finish the podcast.
But and that's especially important in Tekken because you have so much shit out there, and it's such a game that's based around how much knowledge of the game do you have versus how much knowledge I have of the game. It's not one of those things where like I don't want to say like Street Fighter or something like that.
No, go ahead.
It doesn't have that aspect, but not nearly to the extent that Tekken does. So I mean, you have to test out your opponent's knowledge right away, figure out what they know, what they don't know. So.
You like how I will occasionally stop or say something about like Marvel versus Capcom or whatever, but every time Street Fighter 4 comes up, no, that game's trash. Sorry.
I mean, I think Street Fighter is a great game. I actually started playing Street Fighter before Tekken, but Street Fighter already has a little different story.
Yeah, but
I like Street Fighter 3. That's a good game. Street Fighter 4, I don't respect so much.
Well, I guess going back a little bit to the Force Light 2 thing. The thing that worries me whenever I'm playing Julia is, I mean, yeah, you can make her think about that. You know, we're talking about testing your opponent's knowledge and stuff. But like, if your back is against the wall and she has that fucking that down 12, and that shit is just so nasty. I mean, they're punishable options, but God, her wall game is so good that it's just like so scary. With the Force, you have the Force Light 2 option, and then you create that range, and she can also hit you with the down 12. And down 12 is only negative 12, so I mean it's not like she's going to get horribly owned if she chooses that option. So,
in the right range, certain characters cannot punish her.
Yeah, so I mean that's just the kind of stuff that like really worries me when I'm against the wall. That's probably why I lose against her, is that I'm just like so worried that I'm just going to get fucking owned that it ends up being a self-fulfilling prophecy, but that happens. And I think her damage just is a little crazy, but because Force Light 2-1 just by itself does ridiculous amounts of damage. But
yeah, it does.
But I mean, like you said, you know, it's negative 16, so it's not like she's not taking the risk for doing it. But
right, and now
you gotta fuck with that range.
You do, and Namco gave her the ability now. They released the delay ability from the slide 4-2-1. So if they delay it enough, you can delay it and still land it, but you can delay it enough that even if you hit the low with the high, the middle will be blocked. So that's another. That's just one more way that Julia player could fuck it up. Even if they could space you out correctly, they could still fuck up the mid, and you have to count on that happening.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Indeed. So, what do you think about like her grabs? Like obviously Mad Axes, everyone knows about Mad Axes. That the move is too good, and
What's Mad Axes?
it puts you it puts you at that, at least in my opinion, like her perfect range after you get hit by it. But like, what about the rest of her grabs? Like, I mean, do you think the Oki is like really good on those, or like what kind of stuff are you looking for?
I think it's good enough. I think it's great.
Is the waist throw still good? The special one throw or whatever?
Oh, down.
That's the one. That's the one I hated before. I don't know.
It can kind of screw with people depending on, because you have kind of a few camps when it comes to throw breakers. You got people that look at hands. You got people that look at animation. You got people that look at animation before they wait to break, which is actually a smarter way to go about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, the suplex, the arm suplex, down, back.
1+3.
Yeah, 1+3. Kind of fucks with her eyes a little bit.
Fucks with mine. That's why I hate that fucking throw.
But I believe it yields less frames. Yeah, it yields less frames after recovery than a traditional left throw.
I basically just found out I just eat shit. It yields less frames? Alright, I'm just eating shit. Gotcha.
But like, I have to disagree with the Mad Axes leaving her in giving her perfect spacing upon break. But the thing about that breaker, it's a 10 frame to execute, which is really fast. You can buffer it, which is really good. It has great range, and excellent damage, great LP options, etc. But on break, she's -6, which is fine and pretty typical of command throws, and especially command throws that are less than 11 or less, that are 10 frames. But it doesn't.
Drag it up.
I'm sorry.
Step drag it up.
But it doesn't. Here's the great thing about that throw as well, is that it doesn't change where you are on the map. Like if I do a left throw and there's some weird, crazy animation that I jump over you and now my back is towards the wall, there's none of that with the Mad Axes. You basically attempt to throw, they break, you space out. It's just north to south, and that's it. And that's what I love about it. So if their back is to the wall, I attempt this throw, they break it, well your back's still to the wall. So that
is good.
That is really good.
A lot of command throws leave you in a really fucked up situation.
That's true. Indeed. No, I was thinking, like, trying to think of like all the different grabs that do that kind of thing. And
like I think.
Oh, go ahead. I was just gonna say like it's I mean, you can mess with that too, because I mean, a lot of people will break certain breaks in certain situations. And again, going back to you got to test your opponent's knowledge and just kind of treat them like a new player. Like a lot of people with giant swing, you'll always break one with your back to the wall, but for whatever reason, nobody wants to break one the other way, when their back is against the wall. So a lot of people tend to eat giant swing when their back is against the wall. But if you break it, it still switches sides. So
yeah, it's 180 completely, right?
Yep. So even if your back is against the wall and they break it, now their back is against the wall. So and they just do it again because now they're not thinking to break one because their back is against the wall. So
I'm interested to see what they do in Tekken Tag 2, because if I remember hearing it correctly, that they're overhauling the throw system, and I remember hearing something about the breaking. So I'm not sure if they're going to change it completely, but.
I thought it was always a really good, interesting addition to the game of Tekken, because then you have this additional mind, because in the past, it was just like that instant break, where you just shoved them off, and there really wasn't a lot of axis movement or anything like that. And I like the whole mind game with all these different positions. Like every grab, leaves you in a different position, whether you break it or you get hit by it. So like there's this whole other addition of mind game that you have to worry about.
Fuck yeah!
I really like that shit.
That's another feature, because we're talking about all this, going back to Dragunov, I love all the different situations I can use that. Does Julia have a throw where she can switch sides, though, that doesn't leave her fucked?
Yeah.
Alright. Which one is that?
Left throw.
Left throw. Right. Which one is her...
Because those are great, they're just position changes. Alright, get your ass over there.
Which one is her left throw?
Suplex.
Is that the... Oh.
Yeah, that's a different...
Suplex. Yeah, just the generic suplex where she just slams out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a pretty decent grab. And yeah, any grab that just switches positions is straight dangerous.
I think I almost like, because I haven't made I'm not that great with kind of 3D space. Like
Says the guy who can wall push into trees on the beach.
That's easy. That's 45, 90. I can deal with that. But like, there's certain breaks where I don't necessarily know exactly where I'll be, but I almost like throwing. I'm like, I'm gonna do a 12 frame unblockable high that you have a 33% chance at breaking, and if you do break it, I'm gonna go ahead and see where I'm at, and I'll play around with that. I'll just deal. And I kind of like that. Like, this is kind of stale for me right now. I'm gonna change it up. I'll see what happens. I sometimes do that.
Nice. Just messing.
I have a similar one. I like to do that same type of strategy, but I like it a little different. This is one of my favorite personal tricks or whatever, is to try to do a throw just outside of where the throw will hit.
Have him break it.
Because some characters, like Julia, like if you go for a both punches throw just outside of Julia's range, and she tries to break that throw because she's reaction only, she'll do that giant fucking punch, and you just sidestep whatever after you whipped your grab. I love that strategy.
Well, my favorite is
people throw out punishable ass moves.
These are old school strats right here. Like against a ball player, if I'm Jin, I'll do a stonehead, which is a double punch break.
Oh yeah.
They'll hit 12 as they're in a defensive posture, which will execute an unblockable. So.
Yeah, that's the best possible situation. Oh, thank you.
Oh man, that's hilarious. I never. I mean, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, like that'll work, but I've never actually like seen. I always I look at the arms and stuff, but there's not very often where I don't know. I guess I kind of wait for it to connect to like see if the grab will connect, because I like to punish fucking grabs, because people can mess with those spacing and like just fuck it up. But I've never really thought about like using it as an offensive technique.
Actually, that right there is the reason to try to break throws based on the opening animation, because the people who are just going for the arms, they're the ones that are the most susceptible to whiff throw death.
Yeah,
as I could tell.
That and if you go solely on arms, you could input the break before the actual contact of the throw. So, and if you're one of those people that just commit once and that's it, and wait for your break animation to occur, then you won't even break it.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I fucking mash it. I just sit there and fucking mash it once I see that it starts to connect. I guess the only reason that I've never started doing the animation thing is because, well, one, I mean, you have to have a lot of character experience to like see that animation. But there's some, like you mentioned, Dan, when we were talking about Lars. Lars is one of those characters where
shitty characters.
Okay, fair enough. But anyway, like his grabs start out the same. So it's.
You think so?
Well, I thought that was what you said. Like the beginning anime, like it's a little rough.
No. I think Lars's throws are fucking terrible. All of them.
Well, on hit maybe because he doesn't have a lot of Oki options. But I could have sworn you said that it was hard for you to break him because they started out the same. But I know that there's the cape issue. That people have. Which.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that one. But no, I don't think that about his throws. The Dragunov ones are the ones I always think of for that.
Because I guess I didn't realize they start out the same.
The special Dragunov, the 11 framers, those fuckers they're all a roll or whatever. They hit me every time.
With roll breaking, I think just to quickly hit upon this point, I think you should not commit to one or the other. There's 3 ways to go about them. There's the throw animation for the position of the hands. There's the beginning animation cycle of the throw. But then there's also the speed to execution. Now, if you got traditional throws that are 12 frames, command throws that are 10 and 11. So if the throw is quickly committed, then you know it's going to be a command throw. And you know more likely it's going to be a double breaker. Like if a slow throw occurs, a 12 to 15, 12 being typical standard left to right throw, 15 being a dash throw, that could never be a 12 frame breaker. So you know if a throw,
That's interesting.
yeah, if the throw if you are thrown, but it's late to that animation cycle, you know it can't be a 12 breaker because the command throw would not take that long to execute.
Man, that's a lot of thinking. And just like,
I heard in Korea they only do the opening animation. That's what Kim. What is it? Bong Bong. I don't remember what his real name is. They call him Bong Bong. Kim Bong.
Kim Bong Min?
Is that just it? Yes, Kim Bong Min. He was telling me that they only do the animations. They don't look at the arms.
Does he still play? I was actually curious about that because I hadn't heard anything.
Oh no, I heard this a while ago. This was Tekken 4.
I hadn't heard anything about him forever.
I remember him at the tag match.
Yeah, I came and wrecked.
Yeah, you have to... All right, we're getting a little view over here. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying he's sick.
Yeah, he was good. I think you have to do all of it. You have to do animation cycle, the hand animation, and the speed to execution. Because obviously, if it's 12 to 15, it can never be a 12 frame breaker.
Yeah, grabs have always been that one thing where it's just weird. Like they're gonna happen, but you still have to, or they're gonna get broken, but you still have to throw them out. You're gonna get grabbed eventually, no matter how good you are at breaking grabs. It's like just one of those weird things.
Another trick I do to kind of mess with people that do look for the hand animation. Like if I sidestep to my right, which would be your left.
Oh yeah.
I would do a right bit.
Yep.
If they see that hand animation, they're like, oh, they think right. Like, well, no. Because if I'm squared up with you, then, or if I'm not squared up with you and I do get that side throw, then it's going to fuck with them.
Yeah, that fucks with me all the time. Because sometimes, yeah, if somebody gets to your side or whatever, and you're like, okay, here comes a side grab, but you're just barely off axis, and it gets a regular grab, or vice versa. You're like, fuck.
Right.
It's like an additional 50-50 that you just can't, it's like so hard to see.
Yeah, it's still in your favor. There's no guessing on
Yeah, you just hand over the 50-50 to them. You don't have to do any work. A little silly, but
your move, queer.
But okay, so how do you what do you think about like her pressure game? Because I don't think she has a lot to like put you in negative, like on block, but I know she has, the running one is really stupid, but high, not sidestep, while standing 2-1, you got, even though you can duck the high, you still be wary of it, so, like, how do you think, like, her pressure game handles with stuff like that?
I think it's great. I think, to really to create problems for Julia, you have to keep her out, which isn't easy, but if you're successful, you're going to shut her down. Because all of her moves involve, well, they're all it sounds like a no-brainer, but they're all dashing moves, or 4-4-1, or 4-4-3, or dash into range, because she has limited range because of, the length of her lens. And that's kind of an offensive posture. So if you kind of make her come in, not blindly, but if you get her to come in and she's kind of frustrated with you keeping her out, then that's what you want to do. Because if she's coming in by forward, either trying to go for an elbow, trying to go for a launcher, trying to go for a hop kick, trying to go for a throw, you can't be offensive and defensive at the same time. Like there's going to be a point where you're going to be able to catch her and she cannot block, or that person cannot block. And I think that's what you want. If you're challenging her bubble constantly, if we talked about that earlier, then that's going to be more problematic for you. You have to force me to go in, but make that a challenge when I go in. I think that's what you want.
Yeah, I think you got to force her to try to come in when she's already in, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, force her bubble outside when she really needs to be playing you close. You got to fuck with that.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
You can go in quite easily, but if you frustrate her enough to let her know that this isn't going to be easy, you're going to create a lot of openings for her.
I think of her a lot like Bruce and Lars in the way that her spacing game plays, but yeah, I think of her options like, I don't know, she's just easier to break you down if you just commit to one style. You have to constantly fuck with the spacing, fuck with the tracking all the time, because once you sit down for just one, she has better tools for breaking you down. I think.
Nice. Well, that's I don't know. I think we covered pretty much. I mean, that was a really good conversation. I don't really have any other like areas that I can think of to talk about. Was there like any like anything you just wanted to like ramble on about or discuss about this character, Antonio?
Sure. This one's gonna be straight for Esam. Make sure he listens to this one. He was in Chicago. I was at this is in the summertime, and he was in Chicago for an event, and it was me and a Chicago player, John Hammer, Solus on the forum.
Who? That guy? Oh.
Fan club #1. We love John.
Hold on, I'm looking this up. Should I have heard of
Google
him?
his name. Google him.
He went to Nationals, second 5, no big deal. Yeah, so we were there, we were all playing, and I made it a point to say, because I kept hitting Esam with hotkicks, and I kept hitting John with hotkicks, and with John original, so I would go with this point. But the reason why I land hotkicks so much is because you can actually just frame, unlike every other character, she has a two hit hotkick. So it's not just upward 4, it's upward 4 to 3.
Yep.
And you have to commit to 3 to get them airborne. And you can actually just frame that hotkick. It's one of those just frames where Namco didn't intend it to be that way, but you can do it so late in the animation cycle, the left kick comes out and it kind of like herky jerks. You'll see the animation kind of look awkward, and they actually become higher than they would normally. Because you're almost hitting them on your descent than the ascension of the initial hotkick. That makes any sense?
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do that with her. So you can actually hit confirm an upward 4, where if they blocked upward 4, you can just knock them to 3. And if it does land, and you see that animation cycle begin, you can commit to 3. Awesome.
That's pretty much why she's in the top tier for me.
But no one knows about that. Like, people I've had debates with people, when they disagree that they exist. I'm like, no.
I fucking tested it.
Yeah, I remember a while back, hearing about that. And I don't play Julia, so it doesn't like really affect me all that much, because if you just stop at the 4, it's not punishable anyway. But I mean, if you go to the 3, I mean, if you're blocking that, I mean, you should be hop kicking or something back to her. But defensively, I don't think it makes a huge difference. But yeah, I do remember hearing about that. And it's pretty crazy that you can just frame a hop kick, but.
The worst part about that is, like, okay, they blocked it, and she still can, if she wants to, play the 50-50. Do I want to hit it again later, or do I just want to be safe?
Yeah.
What's the risk versus reward? Oh, well, you could launch them, or you might eat a 12-frame Punisher.
Or your advantage on hit, even if you don't hit the 3. Yeah.
Which is, it's really weird, like the upward 4-3, because, I mean, assuming that you're playing against Julia, who doesn't do the just frame, once that upward, the 3 comes out, as a defensive, as the opponent, you have to make a choice. Either you can hop kick and try to get a launch, or, I mean, if you're a character that can float off your hop kick, then it really doesn't apply to you all that much. But, I mean, you can't, I think if you do the upward 4-3-1, I think 12 is as fast as you can go before it'll hit you, I believe.
Yeah, I think 12 yields a counter hit, 13 trades.
Yeah, so like you have to make a choice on the spot. Are you going to go for the launch and maybe not get as much damage because she went for the 1, or are you going to do the 12 frame and then just try to take lower damage? And for Armor King, it makes or like characters like Armor King, it makes a really weird situation for me, because my counter hit back 1 gives me a little mini juggle and really good Oki, but if I do back 1-2 and the back 1 hits counter hit, it gives me nothing. I just get the back 1-2, and then you're right next to the ground. You can tech roll and you can get up. So, but like there's other characters where
yeah, quit playing shitty.
Yeah, sorry, but I mean, you look at like a Kazuya or somebody who has like a more streamlined back 1-2, and it doesn't matter for them. They just have the 50-50.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just one of those another situations where Julia is just like really awkward and different from other characters. But
what I do is I kind of poise myself for a sidestep. If I block the up
Left?
or three, yeah, besides to your left. Now, besides to your left, you can do whatever you want, any launcher. And she's squared up enough that it's not going to really screw with the whatever combo you choose. But if I'm pointing myself for that sidestep, but if I don't see that beginning animation cycle, the one, then I'll stick to my 10-frame Punisher. Not 12, not 13, because I might have given up those frames and looking for that animation cycle.
yeah,
So I'm either going to jab punish you, which is good because I am getting a punish. I'm going to let that Julia player know that you're not going to let them get away with it for free. With doing
yeah, and that's I'm glad that you mentioned that. You might have given up those frames because a lot of players, newer players, and the theory fighters that cruise the boards every once in a while, they're only they're only thinking in absolute terms. Okay, here's what you have, so that's the only thing you should be looking for. But I mean, we've said it a few times on this podcast. I mean, even though something is a certain frame amount and you can get something, doesn't necessarily mean that it's your best option or that you will be able to get it or whatever the situation may be. I mean, the situation of any particular round is going to be very fluid, and frames are going to move around so much so quickly that you have to consider that you may have lost your couple frames of advantage just because you were trying to figure out what to do. So
yeah, and those animation cycles are exactly that. They're animation cycles. I might even go ahead and say that there's no attack in the game that has one hit frame, where it's like frames to execute, hit frame, recovery frame. I don't know that exists.
Wait, what are you saying?
Like, if I don't think there's any attack that has a animation cycle that leads up to a hit frame, and then there's one hit frame that,
Oh yeah, not anymore. There used to be the one in Tekken 4 with Steve's hook punch.
Hook punch?
It used to be down one, the hook. Now it's back one.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, you could he could whiff it, and you could hit him at the same time or whatever. Suddenly he's blocking. What?
It was that big, really?
You could actually tie with him, and he could block.
Wow. Yeah, so that's the point, that you can't. I mean, it might work on paper, but real fight.
Yeah, and that's something that we really like to stress on here. It's to stop your paper fighting. It's useful when you're developing strategies and stuff, but you have to recognize that situations change, and all of these numbers don't always add up to the reality of the situation that you're in.
I hate frame whores so much.
I mean, they're important. They're especially important to Tekken 6. I mean, I don't want to give the impression that they're not, but
I mean,
I hate them.
I've seen them on, I'll see them pop up when a new release comes up. They'll pick a character and they'll completely break down the frames, and this is minus that, this is minus this. And I'm okay with that. And this is usually coming from a person that lives likely in the Midwest, doesn't have access to the game, and won't likely have access to the game until it comes home. But go ahead and apply those theories in the field. See how they work. And if they don't, go ahead and correct that information. Because there's nothing more. I hate erroneous information, so they kind of perpetuate that. And this is the truth of this attack, and do not contradict this. This is how it is because I, came across this theory on paper. Don't challenge it. You'll be wrong. I don't subscribe to that.
I just hate it when people approach a situation. They're like, okay, this is my solution to this, and then they don't play the situation, so they never they'll look at a situation where they're supposed to do while standing for or whatever. This is how I deal with this move, and then they never develop their game past that to realize, well, this situation is different, similar to this situation, so you might be able to get something else in the middle. They don't like this move only has a couple crush frames. Well, you might find out that your uppercut actually can go in the middle of that move.
Oh, right, yeah.
Shit like that, and people have to play the situation instead of the frames. They limit themselves so much.
Well, when we were talking about Lars, I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of people think he's top tier, is because of that, the frames. Everybody's talking about all these frame situations and stuff, and just ignoring the situations. that you tend to get in with him. And, you know, Dan, I know, Dan, you hate that character. You think he's garbage. But I do like him, and I think he's really good. But like so many people put him as number one, and I think it has a lot to do with paper fighting and theory fighting. And, you know, there's a lot of good...
And whole man videos.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good players that are doing good stuff with him. But, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, you're just throwing out all this... evidence, but
quickly, let me say this about Whole Man. Like, there's no real Lars players that are winning tournament after tournament here in the U.S. And yeah, Whole Man is one of the better Lars players in the world. But if you look at the style of play with his Lars, it was a lot of like down forward ones, a lot of shin kicks, a lot of his down back two mid. It's like what he was doing with his Lars, you could do literally with any character.
You're making the case that the kids on the boards hate the most.
Or like, a 12-frame shin kick that's tech crouch. Oh, every character has that. A 13-frame mid that's -1. Every character has that. He was just playing really solidly. Like what he was doing with Lars, you could do with any character.
The USNC Ogre strat. Pick my crush move, my mid poke, and grab.
Yep.
That's all I do with a character.
Yeah, and you land a lot of throws.
Yeah.
So,
I remember the kids talking about Mad Dog Jin was playing Steve in Tekken 5, and oh my god, near the wall he mixes up backsway wall push with backsway mid move. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, he's a fucking genius. God, I'm glad you guys saw that. Fucking write that down. Did he use lots of down forward one also? The single best mid move in the game? Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Oh man, that's hilarious. So okay, so not to like derail that topic, but to go back to Julia, where would you put Julia on your tier list, Antonio?
I wouldn't because I don't have to.
Oh, he's one of those guys. He's not gonna commit.
I don't have to. I don't.
Give her like a rating then, like a grade.
Yeah. 1 to 10. Like, where is she?
Quick answer would be a high 8. 8, at least an 8, 9-ish.
Sounds good.
Yeah, like I just don't see, like, I watch tournaments and they'll like look at. I don't get the ranking charts. I don't get the tier list. I don't get when people watch a matchup. And I see this all the time on the streams. They're like, "Oh yeah, this matchup is like 10-7." I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I really don't. I'm not.
You don't think that some characters have to fight harder against other characters?
But why? There might be a scenario or two of a character that has hundreds of options and moves. Like, so they maybe shut down 1 or 2. Well, then don't use that 1 or 2. You have so many more options to use. I never understood.
Yeah,
that.
I think it's more the idea of like the whole break the game philosophy, where it's like, okay, if this character has such a big advantage over another character, use that, and if it's that useful, it will drastically change the outcome of the match. I think it's that sort of philosophy, but...
Okay, so, like, seriously, like, can either of you give me that scenario? Like, where this character has a significant advantage over that character, and why?
Steve versus Jin, Tekken 4.
Oh, you can't even...
All right.
Tekken 6, come on.
Who's a shitty tracking character in this game?
Lily. Lily's garbage.
Lily versus Nina in this game. Sidestep 2 shuts down her so bad. Then.
Yeah.
That's just by default.
No, yeah, I think Lily is the worst tracker in the game, IMO, but...
No, you're playing right with that.
Well, and I remember when, like...
Completely garbage tracking. I think they would have a instant hard time with this character that gets to throw out, a move that's only going to recover -12, something like that.
But are there characters that really have that great of tracking? Really?
There are.
Yeah, I would say so.
I can think of like really good attacks from said characters that would have a really great tracking ability.
That's one of the things people say about Lars is, like his 1-2 is a good tracker, or his back 1. I mean, he has the ability to track safely, and You know, I'll grant you, if you have a safe mid like back one, you get to mix it up with long grab all day, and then you can play someone who's just going to do a sidestep strategy, just with that one. You know.
Well, I'll give you a tip here about Lars, being a Lars player. His back one is more often than not, like if you read anywhere on any frame list, it's -9. But more often than not, it's going to be -10. So you can jab him back one. It doesn't happen.
Really?
I get jab off of back one all the time.
I thought it was...
I'm just now going to laugh at the kids on the board because this is another thing to downgrade them. God, you kids are fucking idiots.
I play Lars all the time. The notation for that attack is back one. I am charging back. I'll get hit.
Wow, that's crazy.
You can, if you block a back one from Lars, it's -9. -9 is bad enough. If you block it, mash your jab. Just mash your jab.
Hold on, because I know you understand these types of things. What if, is it like off X to the right or whatever? Or is it a certain scenario?
No, it's just it hits later in the frames. Because if you think about homing attacks, they don't work in concert. They kind of hit in like a rainbow. So it's a stream of frames, this cycle that it can hit, and it's like a roulette. It can hit anywhere. You don't know where, but it can hit anywhere in this kind of roulette.
Yeah.
Now, if it hits later than earlier in that roulette, it's going to yield greater frames.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that by greater frames could be 1, could be but that 1 could make a difference. Obviously, it does.
This is like the opposite of your Julia move, where if it hits later in the frames, you get better frame advantage.
Yeah.
And then he gets worse as it gets farther.
So
all right.
Yeah. So if you block that move, just mash your jab. Lars will sometimes get hit.
Yeah.
And I think Mateo here in Wisconsin, he knows that, and he always mashes jabs. And I think Berm did, because I think he was talking to who is he? I should know his name. DJ Core, also being a Lars player, he was talking to Mateo about that, and he confirmed it. Yeah, it's like, he sometimes do jabs. Yeah. So you block back 1, you mash your jab.
Man, just more and more evidence towards Dan's case of that character being garbage. every time we talk to somebody, Dan gets a little nugget that he didn't previously know about how much.
I fucking hate him.
But
he's so overrated.
He is overrated. I absolutely agree with you. And I think we talked about this before, that he was overrated. But he's a very good character. But what you can do with him, you can do with
yeah, see, I'm in the same boat as you. Dan thinks he's just complete garbo, but I think...
No. That is my case. Is he doesn't have, he has things that he's super good at or whatever, but he doesn't have, anything that makes him really better. He has these panic buttons, and, okay, that'll be good for the first fucking week.
Yeah, I agree. Here's what I like about him than most characters, is that not only does he has really good homing, not great. He has really good homing attacks. He has a lot of kind of evasive attacks, and I do not lump in evasive with homing because they are not the same thing. I mean, I'm sorry, crush. Do not lump in evasive attacks with crush attacks because they're not the same thing whatsoever. And there's the kind of non-official homing attacks, like he has a down back 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't track. It actually homes. He actually shifts his position towards his opponent. Yeah. So it's homing and tracking at the same time, and not as many characters have that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he has the tools. But to say he's far superior, me personally would have it.
Yeah.
I think people just look at shit like he can do the generic down 4, which is good with anyone, but they like to. Well, he can do his full crouch move afterward to beat everything. Okay, that's fucking worth it. Yeah, you're right.
Just kind of a quick note, because a lot of when we had those kids arguing about Lars in the forum or in the thread for our podcast, the down back 2-1, I actually would say that the 1 tracks more than the down back 2, because the down back 2 you can step, and you have time to even hop kick before the 1 comes out if you step it early enough. But the 1, there's no situation where you can step that 1. It's almost fucking impossible. But
okay, that might be possible, but he literally shifts. If you're moving to your right, after I've executed my down back 2-1, he will shift towards wherever direction you're moving in. So could you still successfully sidestep and hop kick?
Yes. However, when I posted up in the forum, I told everybody, okay, hop kick is one of those like perfect situations. Like if you know it's coming and you step it perfectly, you can hop kick. But you like all 99% success rate if you
I liked it the first time.
Sex rate if you sidestep and then do your 12 frame, you almost the one will almost never beat it out. It's very rare. Because I was messing with it because somebody mentioned like, oh, down back 2-1, blah blah blah, does all this tracking. I was like, I don't think it does. Like I'll give you the 1, but I don't think the down back 2 does. And if you step the down back 2 and the 1 still comes out, like I was messing around with Armor King, who has a good sidestep, but he's a bigger character, so it kind of balances out. And the back 1, like every time, was hit and counter hit. Like I would sidestep it early, late, like that 12 frames was always, which at least in my mind, puts him at a really bad situation. I mean, down back 2-1 is still a really good move, and you have to use it. But, like, against characters like, say, a Julia that has a fucking 11-frame Magic 4, I mean, that's dangerous. That's really dangerous.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, it's one of those things where it's still a really good move. You still have to use it, and you can still mess with that spacing and the timing so that if they fuck up the sidestep, it'll hit. But
I think there's another one of those scenarios where you can't, as you guys say, what'd you call it, paper fighting?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't apply this to that because when do you have moves that are the kind of tracking moves that kind of shift, the kind of unofficial homing moves? Like, you have to also take into account that when your opponent is stepping, where they are in relationship to you, because that
range totally.
Yeah, because that degree plays into account on whether they're going to be successful in tracking you or whether you're going to be successful in them failing and you punishing.
yeah,
I think the closer you are, the bigger the percentage of the, like if the person that you're trying to sidestep is standing, say, on like a pie, you get a bigger step, like a bigger percentage of the world.
Yeah.
So there's moves like Dragunov has that down 4 that we mentioned on the Dragunov chat. The down 4 tracks like perfectly anywhere outside of one character space, but up close it is possible to sidestep.
yeah.
And that's exactly the point I'm trying to make. The closer you are, the more successful you would be in sidestep.
Yeah.
Another thing about Lars and his tracking is I think he's totally at a disadvantage when he's on the right side of the screen, because he's slightly less good at tracking to his left, so sidestep right, because I don't know, let's say if he's on the right and he's doing his 1-2s, one thing you can do to him is sidestep down to get the sidestep right or whatever, and sidestepping down, it doesn't activate as fast as like sidestepping into the background does, but you do get a crouch frame in it, and you can get like underneath his jab.
Yeah.
Step the first one and it'll accidentally duck the second one. Thanks.
Yeah. No. That I agree. I've never really thought about it, but yeah, you're right. Because there's another situation where if there's any OG players and they play Tekken Tag, and everybody remembers Brian's back 1 when tagged.
Yeah. It
went from like +2 or 3 to +7.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It was a lot. You couldn't move. But if you would sidestep, if you would just literally charge down, you would enter a crouch, and you would crouch to jab, and because Brian has so many jab series, like 1-4, 1-2, variations, and you could just duck the first, and during the sidestep, you do kind of like dip under a lot of highs during that sidestep, early in the sidestep, but you do. And
if anyone knows what the molester step is, going down is always better with the molester step because of that.
Oh, right, yeah.
And there's a lot of moves that you can, like not just in evasive sidestep, but there are moves that will help you in doing that too. Because like going back to Armor King, like if you sidestep and do 1+2, like because of the sidestep, and
why do you keep bringing this back to
I don't
Armor King?
know. I don't know why I keep doing it. It's just a thing. But like that move goes under highs already. But I mean, if you do the sidestep and you're a little off axis, I mean, it'll go under even more. So
there are so many characters that are completely destroyed by sidestep crush move.
Yeah.
Like if your character's all your good trackers or highs, you are completely susceptible to sidestep. Like Dragunov, I like to play against Bob and just go sidestep right down 2, sidestep right down 2, and there's pretty much nothing he can do about it.
Why is that?
Because all of his good, rewarding tracking moves are high, so you can just keep doing this until he feels like, okay, I have to just sit here and defend this move. So and like his rewarding, like his uppercut would help if you were going to his right.
His right.
But to his left, he has like nothing. His hop kick moves him so far forward that it'll actually go past you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't track for shit, not like a normal hop kick.
I know.
That's crazy.
So just sidestep right, throw out like a generic down 4, throw out a fast crush move, and it just cripples him.
Crazy. I didn't realize that it was that bad. Like I know he has a little bit of a tracking issue, but man, I didn't think tracking or sidestepping and like crushing. I didn't even think about that. Which sucks. So I don't know if I have one with Armor King. I don't know if that helps me very much.
Yeah, actually, that's one of my problems with Armor King for you.
But anyway, well that was a ton of information and a ton of stuff, which is awesome. I think that's like the most like information packed like specific technical episode we've ever had. Well that's really all I have for like the character and tech and talk, unless Dan or Antonio, you guys wanted to throw something in, some little last stuff.
I think I'm good. You, Dan?
I'm all right. It was a fun chat.
Indeed. Well, this episode, I don't have any like generic topics, just like random news bits or anything. Power Up was fun. I should mention one because I did play on the stream, and it was my first time ever playing on a stream. And I noticed like a lot of people saying like, oh, they must be nervous on a stream, or people get nervous or whatever. I thought it was really fun. I'd actually prefer to play on a stream than not on a stream. I was having a ball. But I wasn't nervous at all. I thought it was more fun than anything. So if anybody out there if you can get a chance to play on the stream, do it. It's fun. But that's all I got. So we do have one little segment. I don't know if you've been listening to our podcast at all, Antonio, but for our guests that come on, we do make you do a rant. We have a rant section. We want something that irritates you, that pisses you off, and we want you to tell us about it.
How much time you got? Do you give a topic specific?
Nope. We pretty much just give you 60 seconds, and a lot of people go over. But just anything you want to rant about, you just want to put on blast, we give you the opportunity to do it to the world.
All right, give me a second. I think.
Are you in a wind tunnel now?
No, is that you here?
Kind of, yeah, muffled.
Oh. Something I rant about. I don't know. Nothing. You got anything, Dan?
I know one that maybe I could tip you off on. I know it's Antonio rant.
What's that?
It's I know you hate the term guaranteed.
Oh.
I remember that.
I do hate guaranteed. I tell you what I hate right now, since we're talking about Julia. This is a Julia specific episode. What they're doing to Julia in Tekken 6.
What are they doing?
You haven't seen?
No. Nope.
She's like, she has an identity crisis, and she became a wrestler, and she's...
Oh, yeah, I know a lot of people are speculating that stupid wrestler is her in Tag 2.
Oh, it is
It?
her. She has the 4-3. I'm pretty sure I've seen the same double hop kick. It's her.
He's attacking the story. I love this.
Really? I thought, really? You guys didn't know? Like, yeah, that's Julia.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah, like her...
Just tell me Paul and Kuma don't make up.
No, but I won't rant, but I'll just say, yeah, they're basically playing like a Tekken 4, and they're going to completely redesign her. But what I don't like, I don't know that this is happening with this, but I don't like it when the story dictates the design. I'd much rather have the design dictate the story. So I'm not sure what's happening here and which is which. But
I'll totally co-sign on that.
But the only thing I could think that may be happening is that they are So yeah, so they're going to change the story, change the design of Julia. But maybe they're just going to bring Michelle on board, and she's going to kind of take on that kind of traditional quote-unquote Chang role. So maybe they'll make Michelle play more like the Julia we all have been accustomed to.
It could be. Because, like, especially now, like, you have all these, you know, these characters that are playing like old characters, but now you're bringing back the old characters. You know, like the June Asuka example. So it's like, what the hell do you do with those characters? You know, you can't give them the same moveset. So.
Right. I don't know what you do, but I know that I think we'd all would agree that we can trust Namco, what they've done in the past, you know, 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I can agree with that.
Here's my problem with her. Michelle and Julia Chang, they're Native American?
Yeah.
Chang? What?
Hey,
these are
I'm not there.
I don't know.
You can tell me George Lopez is Irish? What the fuck?
Well, they can't change the name now.
And they don't look Native American to me. They never have. Other than the fact that she wears a feather and, like, a leather...
Hey. That's how you dictate it. You want her standing outside a casino all
Yeah, I want tears coming down the face when somebody throws some garbage on the ground. I mean, I want something.
A recycled T-shirt, I don't know.
Oh, man. Well...
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. You're going to have to do better. We want a better rant. We want anger. Anger.
I'm trying to think what's pissed me off today. And second, here's the thing: I don't really have a big involvement. Like, I never know what's going on. Like I have my Wisconsin thread bookmarked on TZ and like Chicago thread, and that's pretty much it. I don't know what happens outside of that bubble. I really don't know. I don't often check the homepage. I don't know what's going on. So like, even when you're talking about like what happens, like, oh, the kids are saying this, the kids are saying that, I don't know what the kids say because I don't care what the kids say. So
sometimes it's fun.
Yeah, it is fun sometimes. I have to kind of keep up with it because, you know, I'm running this site with tournaments and stuff, running my own tournaments, and so I kind of have to know like what people are thinking and what they're fucking talking about and shit, which is kind of an ass because it's, I mean, you have to check all these different threads and shit. And luckily, like a lot of people, you have at least a few people in every scene that love to fucking troll the boards and troll everything, so they tend to like regurgitate all the news in your thread, in your local thread. So that's kind of what I'm using SRK for right now. Like all those, like we have some Iowa players that just love to troll everything, so they'll like post up all this shit in the thread, so I don't have to check as much. But
I don't know. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. All right, well, I was gonna say what I don't like is that everyone is so kind of accessible now, with everyone on, you know, these popular forums, with, you know, their Twitters and their Facebook. Like, Harada has a readily open Twitter account, and people are just, like, messaging him. Like, hey, put Kurimitsu in the game. Hey, like, I don't like this animation. Change that. What are you guys doing with this storyline? Oh, you should bring so-and-so back. Like, what? I don't know why they think that that's okay. Like, who are they to just openly voice opinions? And then Harada, like, replies to all of them. Like, I don't get that at all. Like, how is that good? Or, like, wouldn't you just give up if you're Harada? Have you read his Twitter? Have you seen what people
I've heard some of it. What really cracks me up is I've heard that, like, there's obvious points where he gets angry and, like, irritated at people, and it's, like, almost, like, it's, like, almost obvious, like, he's not, like, used to the trolling of the internet.
No.
You know?
He humors everyone.
It's like, dude, you just have to ignore some people.
The only Twitter I follow is Scott, and I don't know, it's just because his is more interesting than others. Like, I heard him say Love Actually is better than that one rom-com with the guy from 300.
Yeah.
This is the only one I follow.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, but I have things to say. My opinion's better.
I'm putting it on my instant queue. Thanks, Scott. Where do I get the peanut butter bonbon ice cream?
Your local High Velocity.
Do you guys like where like Tekken 6 is going, or Tekken Tag 2 rather? Is going?
For me, I mean, it looks interesting, and I mean, it'll look cool, but like, there's a couple things that I just don't really know if I'm gonna like it, because like, you know, you from the looks of it, you're still gonna have the rage system on top of your anger system,
Netsu?
yeah, your Netsu system. So like, I just really don't know how that's gonna work out. And as much as I like T6, there's like certain game mechanics I do not like. Like, I really do not like the bound system at all. I really don't like that. I think it lacks creativity, and it just, yeah, I just don't like it at all, the way it works with Tekken. But I don't know.
I think they need less bound moves, period. I think everyone should have one.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the bound system, like as far as like the bound property on moves, just really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, there's some moves that it's like, okay, clearly that's going to slam you to the ground. And there's others that, okay, how is that slamming you to the ground? And then there's others where they're clearly slamming you to the ground, but it's not a bound move. Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Like that Beck down 2. That fucker should bound like no other.
And there's
like what?
The Beck down 2?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And there's some moves that like that bound that you ask yourself why they're bounding. Like again, to ride Armor King, his huge headbutt, slow headbutt, that thing bounds, but why? The only time it'll ever bound is at the high wall splat. And even then, it can sometimes miss if you don't do it fast enough. Like, it's just...
Well, I think that's the point, because it's such a high damage.
Yeah,
high damage move.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's other characters that only have, you know, like 2 or 3 bound moves, but he has like a random garbage bound move. Like, why? I don't know. I just don't get it.
The one that doesn't make sense to me is the Raven back 12-2. Fucking really? The only time that's ever gonna bound is with them to the wall, and he has nothing he can do out of back turn.
Yeah, like, it's just I just don't get it. I don't think they fully thought out the bound system. I think it was just a new mechanic that was just thrown in there like instinctively, like a twitch a twitch change to try to snag new players, and I don't like it at all. But
I just don't like the watering down of Tekken, period. Everyone has their generic, I don't know, like, everybody had more character-specific strengths, and now it's so universal. You can approach any character and, okay, I'm just going to mash this, I'm just going to do this in this situation. It's getting retarded.
I think, I'd agree with some of that, disagree with a lot of it. Like, I don't agree that there should be one bound. I think I would hate to be at a tournament and look across all the monitors and see the same one combo that everyone's doing because of the limited options. So I don't want that. But I do agree that, yes, some moves look like they should bound, but they don't. But that just makes sense, because then they would have to just remove the move completely or give it a bound. And let's say they already have 2 bound moves, what, they're going to give one character 1 or 2 bounds and give another character 4? I don't think they would do that. But yeah, I wouldn't say that Tekken has kind of hit upon that place of other fighters where everyone's kind of has that cookie cutter system.
Not quite, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we are getting
there. We're not there. I mean, but I think do you not welcome homing?
I welcome that part. What I don't welcome is the disappearance of stuff like, and I'm going to use Tekken 4 because I don't want to talk about Tekken Tag, but like Quarong, when he made you block the right foot 3-4, that mix-up was fucking retarded. And I don't know, it was just, every character in that game felt like a different strategy. And that's why, you know, some characters played better against some characters, is because some characters were strong against, you know, certain types of strategies. But like now, I mean, everybody just, where's my tracking mid move? Where's my tracking low move? Where's my, like, some characters didn't have good low moves. Now fucking Nina, who never had a real good low move, has fucking down back 3, and ugh.
But it's like, I think the playing field has changed so much, you kind of need that. Because people have seen what people have done in the past to win tournaments. And it's maybe some of their strats have been kind of so powerful, they don't want that to happen again. They're like, well, we don't want this player that's capable of, let's say, moving like this. We don't want that to be able to shut down an entire tournament. So let's give players that don't have that ability tools to shut down players that do have that ability. That's the only reason I can see it for them doing something like that.
But what I'm saying about the 1 bound move per character thing, I think then if you wanna do something like let's say if everyone only had one bound move, like let's say we're talking about Paul, if his only bound move was forward 1+2, he would have to choose between what type of combo he wanted, major damage, whether or not he wanted to bound so that he could get more hits into the combo that would end up propelling him to the wall farther, stuff like that. That's just how I see it. Is if they have to use bound moves in certain types of combos, but the high damage combos maybe don't involve bound, or maybe they want to end their combo in a move that gives them better Oki, like let's say his chop or whatever, so that he's in a better Oki situation. I want the combos that require more personality that way.
But to me, it sounds that that'd be counterintuitive to assume that a combo would do more damage and or be longer, travel within the map without a bound than with. So,
well, I think the bound one would extend the combo farther.
Okay, so what incentive would you have for not doing the bound?
Let's say you want, just the major damage, like you're on a wall-less stage, or, something like that. Or let's say that you think that you can get major damage and still get them to the wall. Then you can get, it's different, because when you have more hits in the combo, it moves the character farther per hit.
Right.
So that's why you would add the bound, so that you can get more hits in the combo, because you get that free dash up and then down 4, blah blah blah.
See, in that sort of system, I would think that you would want 2 bound moves per character. One that's like a heavy hitter but slower bound move, and then one that's a quicker, less damage. So that
I think I like that idea, because I think the only way you could get it to work with what Dan was saying was I think you would have to change the scaling dramatically between a combo that possesses a bound and a combo that does not possess a bound. Like maybe when you execute a bound, it goes from 0.4,
no, that totally works, yeah.
0.25, as opposed to if you did not use a bound, it'd be 0.4, 0.4, 0.35, 0.3.
That and kind of to go along those lines. If you were to just do one bound move, I think it would be okay if it was just one really quick bound move that didn't do a lot of damage, but that way it would just be purely for like the wall carry.
That you recover quickly. So you
but like pretty much all of your follow-up options from that would yield you less damage, but you'd go farther for the wall. So I think that would be okay, but
I agree. Sounds like you should tweet Harada.
Yeah, so he can not, respond to me and be like, "Oh, we'll think about it."
Antonio told me not to respond. Fuck off.
Oh, funny. Well, it's been awesome. We're actually getting up there on the time limit now, but thanks for coming on, Antonio. We really appreciate it. It was a lot of tech and talk, like the most tech and we've actually talked in a podcast so far. So, because we usually go off topic a lot, so that's a little bit refreshing. So that's all I have for the podcast. If you have anything else to add, Dan, before we head off.
Does anyone got an abortion joke?
Oh yes. Any good abortion jokes, Antonio?
No.
Oh, I shut you down, Dan. Sorry. Well, we tried. We tried to keep it going. I don't have any of it. We tried. Well, cool. Well, it's been awesome chatting with you, Antonio. Dan, as always, I love you. And for all you listeners out there, we hope you enjoyed all this informative talk, and that hopefully you learned something. If you did.
What?
Go ahead.
Take a second to thank you both, Scott and Dan, having me on.
Mr. Antonio.
Yeah, no problem. You need to travel more and let these fucking newer kids know what's up.
I think once Second Tag 2 hits, I'll do my, as per usual, get really good really quickly. And
then stop.
Yeah.
Well, hey, at least you'll go to a couple tournaments and let people know what's up. So, all right, cool. Well, there you go, listeners. We hope you enjoyed this next edition of the VGF Strat Corner podcast, and we will see you next episode.